Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. Sorry, I am way behind today. I just didn't have a good start today. I'm sorry. Well, let's come in here and check out the charts. We do have some interesting things going. By the way, there's a bunch of you here already. Octavius, A. Paul, AO, Uzi. Octavius says he's looking for longs, and I think that that's right. Although, because we have CPI tomorrow, I expect things still to be pretty tight, right? I would come over here to the chart. So yesterday we had some bill auctions, but we had that Fed inflation expectations number. Remember that the University of Michigan, they have inflation expectations numbers, but their numbers are like wildly out of whack because Democrats are like terrified about inflation and everything. And you get a survey that's a little bit more grounded and you can kind of see everybody's inflation expectations dropping precipitously. So we had a little bit of an up move, and you can see here in the overnight session, we are pushing a little bit higher. Still doesn't make up for that huge drop off of the non-farms, but I'm hoping that we eventually recover that. I'm still in the longer term favoring longs. I think that interest rates are too high and that this inflation is not coming. So S&P 500, well, it was pretty measured for the S&P 500. I don't know what this jump overnight was, but they gave that back pretty quick. Oil's still trucking along higher. It's kind of interesting how it seemed so aimless for so long, but these past 3 days or so, oil has been on a good trend up. Here is gold's not doing much of anything interesting. Silver's still on the way up. It is squeezing. Silver looks like it is explicitly squeezing. Now, we haven't seen kind of like the longer term players get involved here in silver yet. So, if silver proves that this is a real thing, this could go so much higher. just to warn you, like, I wouldn't look at this and be like, oh, wow, that's a great short. It could die out. Could totally die out. But if it's a little bit higher here and the momentum algorithms and all of that kind of pick up on it, this will rip your face off. Something crazy is happening in silver. Okay, we'll see if it lasts. Copper's still a little bit sideways here in this new range, but it's a good range. We're okay here at around what is it? Just below $5. Here's the Japanese yen. Japanese yen kind of a little bit sideways. I've noticed, it used to be that they could move sideways, but as of late, especially in May, it's been kind of trendy. So maybe a change in the behavior of currencies here. And the Bitcoin, well, Bitcoin got just absolutely hammered by Donald Trump and Elon Musk fighting, but apparently the Bitcoin market thinks that they've made up, or like everything's okay because they recovered that, and then yesterday really pumped. Something I would say in Bitcoin is that I still think that there is some serious manipulation by stable coins in Bitcoin. So I think that it would be pretty hard for there to be a really long, sustained bear market in Bitcoin. Right. So higher. As soon as the bear comes along, they're like, oh, nope, we can't have that happen because that would scare all the technical analysis people. We got to go and make the chart look pretty for them. Only trade when the strip is in sync. I think he means that, like, all of the treasuries are moving together. Which, I don't know, like I find that you tend to get bigger trends, or rather, I don't think it's that it's a cause. It's really more of an effect. When you get strong trends, there tends to be big changes in the spread too. Okay. But when you get like, there's like not really any change, there's not really any trend. And well, there's not a huge change in the spread, but I can see that there's like, you know, one tick difference here. For instance, the CZB is down 2 and ZN is down 1. That is kind of indicative of a choppy market. So, and by the way, you can see here, there was a little bit of an impulse long, and it was just enough to get the algorithm to trigger in long, and it immediately comes back. So we are still in those choppy conditions where I would expect this algorithm to do poorly. In fact, let's see here. I only turned it on yesterday. Oh. Yeah, okay. I was going to say I would expect the algorithm to be like down, but actually it made money yesterday. So I think it probably lost money on the first trade that we had while we were trading, but then probably made money off of the inflation expectations number is probably what happened. That's cool. That's cool. Okay, well, with it being quiet, maybe we'll do a little bit more CR chart stuff today. I haven't even opened it up. Well, let's come around and do a little bit of news reading first. The EU is not Europe, says Marie Le Pen. Silver is finally soaring. Here's why. Yes, futures rise as market awaits outcome of U.S.-China trade talks. I forgot about that. That was yesterday, wasn't it? How come we're not hearing anything about it yet? UBS survey finds little growth in smartphone units over. Did you guys see the thing yesterday? Apple releasing a new UI. They call it Glass. And like the icons are transparent and everything. And like my first thought was, oh, so you're recreating Arrow from Windows Vista? We've really come full circle on smartphones, haven't we? Redburn slaps McDonald's with a rare downgrade as GLP-1 drugs reshape consumer habits. Yeah, I don't think I want to be in junk food right now. You know what I think? So every decade kind of has its trends. And I don't know if it explicitly starts at the beginning. It kind of seems like it's kind of more the tail end. So like from 2025 to 2035, it's really where the decade seems to be. For like the 2010s, so like from 2010 to 2025, I think that it was kind of more about I think that the trend was more about freeing people from societal expectations. That always kind of seemed to be the narrative that I was seeing going out there. Like, I'll give you a really small, silly example. Is no-show socks, right? It used to be you had to wear socks that like went halfway up your calf and everything. And then suddenly they decided, well, yeah, but like, do you really need the socks to show? Like, yeah, you want the sock between you and your shoe, but it doesn't need to go up your leg, and then it leaves that imprint in there, and that's kind of annoying. So like, maybe sometimes it's appropriate for you to have socks that that don't go all the way up your leg. And now you can wear them. Of course, that's all kind of being rolled back because now Gen Z seems to think that you have to have socks or it doesn't look finished. Okay. But like that was the thing. And yes, it did lead to a lot of this kind of woke stuff as well. Right? I think that the trend that I am seeing now is a return to, or an attempt to return to, more healthy, natural ways of living. Like, people don't want to eat as much processed food. People don't want to wear as much synthetic fibers. And I think it's coming. I don't think it really happened in a measurable way yet, but I think that it's also going to start showing in your work and stuff. I think that people are going to trend towards, I don't like the way that current corporate culture works, and there are these companies that are pushing something different that is kind of more natural and is more in line with the community. And I think that in public life, people will kind of push more towards having more of a community again. I can only hope, but that's kind of where it seems like things are going. So McDonald's is probably the last place that I want to be. Yeah. Downgrade on that. Interesting that we're seeing analysts look at it from that perspective, but I think he's probably right. I agree with him. Let's see here. Okay. I was checking to see if there was anything about Los Angeles. Full Marine battalion of 700 deploying to Los Angeles as protests continue. Yeek. Okay, well. But nothing, that was from yesterday, so I don't see anything for today. So with all of that, we don't really, let's see here. 3-year note auction at 11. Okay. Trump oversees military demonstration at Fort Bragg. Okay. We got Japanese PPI tonight, by the way. So yeah, I do think it's going to be a little quiet. Okay, so I'm going to eat some oatmeal here, and then we'll do some CR chart stuff. Oh man, I shouldn't have missed a hockey game last night. There was a huge fight at the hockey game last night. Jeez. There's like 5 simultaneous fights going on at the same time. This is actually interesting. Somebody posted some trade stats. Wow. Trade count 360. So, probably not enough trades to be statistically significant. But look at this. Average winning trade percent, 6%. Average losing trade percent, 5%. So it's super aggressive. But with a roughly equal win to loss ratio, winners actually slightly larger than losers. And you win 64% of the time. That's pretty good. He's doing linear regression. Ooh, no, I don't like that. I don't like this. This is curve fitted. Data since 2016. Oh, no. You trained it on data since 2016, but the data is only from June 2024 until today. Why not further back? This looks curve fitted to me. For some reason, his thing has shows the profit factor on multiple different ways, which I think is really weird. Interesting. Let's see if he responds to that. C sharp is cool again and you can't avoid it anymore. C sharp was always cool, man. I take C sharp over Java every day. You know what my problem with C sharp is? I really like C sharp as a language, but I do not like ASP.NET. Like, I would rather make a web application in like Golang or Rust. Morning, belligerent. PayPal says, haven't been sleeping well past week or so. I wake up every couple of hours. Has something traumatized happened to you, buddy? Because that kind of sounds like the sort of thing that you get after like a major relationship ends or a close family member dies. When you have a really traumatic event like that, it completely throws your entire neurochemical system out of whack, and it takes months to recover. Morning, GK. Another thing, Paul, I would ask is like, are you exercising? Doing something like sprinting, something where you're really getting to like your limit, is really helps with those sorts of things. I just loaded your inventory cost basis indicator, but it's not showing up in my chart. Do you have tick replay turned on? So I have some instructions on this on the website somewhere. Just in case you forget, you can go and I don't know where it is exactly, but I'll show you here. If I right click on the data series and go into the chart, there is a setting called tick replay. Now you might not see that at first. You have to go and turn it on. You have to go pull your control center over and go tools, options, market data, show, and then under historical, show tick replay. Right here. Show tick replay. And then it will show up. Now, if you don't have show tick replay on, it will still draw, it just won't draw historically. So if you're not even seeing like the live bars, there might be something else weird going on. So one thing that I would say is make sure that you like don't do it on a weird funky chart. Like I think that it should work on other kinds of weird time frames, but you know, anytime that you're having a problem, just try it on a 1 minute chart, right? Try it on a 1 minute chart, see if that works. Go to Ninja Script output, see if it's printing anything out in the output window. My indicators actually have, let's see here, does the cost basis have this option? I don't recall. I think it should. Cost basis. Log level. And change the log level to like debug. See if it's printing stuff out. Using it on Xeon on the 30 minute. How many days back are you looking? Because, yeah, like Uzi was saying, loading tick replay on a 30-minute chart will gobble up your memory because you're loading so much. I wouldn't try and load it on more than like 2 or 3 days of data. Because what it's doing, so it's when you do that, is the chart maybe like a little unresponsive. Because if you load tick replay up on a 30-minute chart of like 90 minutes, what it's doing is it's playing through every trade that has happened in the last however long you've put it on for. Even for 5 days, well, I don't know, we'll try it. New chart. ZN. Minute. 30-minute. 5 days of data. Tick replay on. Okay. All right. That loaded. Actually pretty quickly. Inventory cost basis. Okay. Oh, that was pretty fast for me, actually. It would be kind of hard to see it on a 30-minute though, to be honest with you. Like you can kind of see some things going on, but like if I come back and I put it on 1 minute chart, ooh, then all of a sudden you can kind of see in the short term, it's like it's hugging that line. Vice work. Very good. I love it when people have problems and I know the solution like right away. Oh, I just makes me feel good. Okay. So your charts. I guess I'm going to do this on the other window. Unique study instance identifiers. Each study has a unique instance identifier. This identifier can be accessed through a CSIL with the sc.studygraph instance ID variable. This identifier is for the instance of the study that is accessing this value directly. The proper way to obtain this unique study instance identifier for a particular study from another study through the sc.inputArray set study ID and get study ID input functions or other input functions which create a study input and allow getting of a study identifier. It's really bizarre to me. Well, first of all, they have that, but that's probably more of a C++ thing, but that's the first thing in their programming concepts that they mention. Because that seems to me like that would be a niche thing that you would only care about if you were like accessing a study from another study. Global variables. It is possible to define global variables which are accessible from any of the study functions in your source code. Yeah, that's probably a bad idea to be telling them that at the beginning, because it's so easy to abuse global variables in C++. Ugh. Generally, 2 reasons why global variables would be used. 1, to share data between multiple study functions. 2, to maintain data between calls to your study function. Oh, wait. So if I want it to be storing data that in between function calls, I have to put it in global variables? I don't get like instance variables? I sure hope that's not the case. When a variable is global, there's only a single instance. Therefore, multiple instances of a particular study or multiple study functions are going to be sharing the same instance of a global variable. Okay, yeah. So you should never use that then, right? Am I wrong? You're able to create a system study. A system study is one in which gives you graphical text and or audible indication of buy and sell signals. This differs from an automated trading study, which can also submit simulated or live orders. Some members of the Advanced Custom Study interface use strings. In most cases, these are implemented as an SC string type. So they have their own string type. These may just require a constant character pointer, or they may only use a... Do I have to have a live account in order to bridge my Jigsaw with NinjaTrader? No, I do not believe so. I'm not sure which side you're talking about, but both sides you should be fine. That's really bizarre to me that they made their own string rather than giving you access to some standard library that has a string that was suitable for them. But hey, that's C++, right? And there might be some things that allow them to format between different formats. So suppose you want to change the name of your study or the name of a study's subgraph in your study to match an input value. Setting the name inside of the code block for setting the study defaults will not work because the code inside of that code block only gets executed once. For a dynamic name, you'll need to add some code outside of the code block for setting the study defaults. Okay, but the code example that they are giving here is not doing that at all. Here they've got a method, and then at the top of the method, they're setting some variables. Set the subgraph to include the value input. This must be outside the above if block so that it gets executed every time. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're seeing if we can convert the indicator to Sierra charts. So the issue that I always run into with Sierra charts is like if I'm in NinjaTrader. Actually, I think I have it bookmarked up here at the top, don't I? Maybe not. I thought I had it. Oh, all I do is just not big enough. Okay. I can come here to the NinjaTrader desktop SDK and like everything's there. And I can't find that with Sierra charts. So and in NinjaTrader, I guess I already know a lot, but like I can come in here to common and say on market data, and then I can understand everything that I need to know about tick replay and the data that I get and all of that. And what is the equivalent in Sierra charts? I have made a Sierra chart indicator that utilizes the information that we need before, but I don't remember what the name of the method was or how I did it. And it's not jumping out at me right away. So I'm just kind of like, oh, well, let's just go through and start at the beginning. Programming concepts. Okay. I don't understand how their documentation, though, is just so disorganized, you know? Referencing data from a sheet within a spreadsheet. That's good that they've got stuff specifically for that. Not that most retail traders would use it, but okay. Code to run the first time that it runs. If SC index equals 0, that'll probably be useful. This demonstrates a simple method to prevent processing on a bar more than once. All bars in the chart other than the last one are only going to have processing for them in a study function done only once. However, the last bar in the chart could be multiple times during real-time updating and during chart replay. Index equals 0, last bar index processed equals -1. If index equals last bar index processed, return. Last bar index processed. Oh, I see. So they're just keeping track of which bar, and then if it hasn't changed over this iteration, then you know that it's processing like a live bar. Fair enough. Limit study access to a particular chart book and symbol. That's curious that they would make a thing specifically for that. It's not something that I would expect very many people to want to do. Through the Windows GDI graphics device interface, it is possible to draw freely into a chart window. Windows GDI documentation. Okay, now that has me curious. Are there like Rust libraries that do that? Would you consider that using the inventory cost basis as price action trading? Not really. So, what I would say is, to me, price action is any kind of strategy that utilizes changes in price to try and predict the future. And that's really not what we're trying to do with our cost basis indicator. I think that the cost basis, it merely indicates to you a certain market state. And that market state in and of itself is not very predictive. It's only when you combine it with other information that perhaps tells you future orders that are coming, where the cost basis ends up becoming really, really useful. So as an example, well, I don't know, we're not a very good example here. Maybe we could go to a different, well, we could go earlier in the day, but I only have 2 days on here. You know, if I'm having a really good uptrend, you know, so what I know at that point is like the buyers are really in control, and like we've always been above this buyer's cost basis line. We're always above this blue line, you know, if not like up by the dotted orange line. Okay, so that's the state, is we know that the buyers are in control. If there was then like a really big market moving headline that completely screwed that up, yeah, I would probably expect to see all of that inventory get dumped and price come down to the orange line. Right? And then they might briefly bounce off of that, and then you see if that's all there was to it, or if it continues lower. But right, and so that's kind of the way that it goes. Often it's like we're up here, and I think that there's going to be some orders that are going to come in and sell it. That cost basis line is a great place to take profits. Though that's kind of the ways that we use it. But it is not trying to use past price movements to predict future price movements. That does not predict future orders very well. It's kind of like, you know, the market state, and then you might know a small subset of orders that are coming, and then you also know how the already open positions are going to react to that as well. So now you actually, you know, this much, right? And that is maybe enough to justify a trade. I don't know if it was a coincidence, but it seems like price hold in the middle line. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, but I think what you're going to tend to see is that they'll either stay over here or they'll stay over here, and they'll be in one mode or the other, except for on a really, really tight day, which today is a tight day, but buyers still have a decided advantage. If it was like a day where like neither side had an advantage, then you would see them go back and forth between the two lines. When I first started looking at this stuff, I kind of thought, oh, maybe the trade is to trade between the two lines. But when I actually did some testing, I found that it did not actually spend that much time between the two lines for whatever reason. There is definitely something to that like it's very hard for them to get above that dotted line. Like we're in a strong trend day type of market if they're above that dotted line. Can't stay above it for long. Of course, that doesn't necessarily mean just go short because the line will move up. Basically, you can't just continue to stop out the market maker. You know, that if the market maker is losing, they basically either have to take the loss or whatever, or they have to add more inventory and readjust their positions higher. So the line will always come up. I believe that in NT4, Microsoft started using GDI 32 to the kernel to make all that soft buffer stuff a bit faster, which wasn't necessarily a bad move, but it did introduce a lot of new attack surface to the kernel. It stayed that way until Vista, when they were ready to offer a better solution for graphics related stuff and introduced WDDM, while moving most of GDI 32 back to the user space. I'm surprised they left that region clipping stuff in the kernel, but I'm sure they had a good reason for it. So that's interesting. So does that mean that you don't really want to use GDI 32? Let's ask Google's AI. GDI 32 is an older graphics rendering technology in Windows. Part of the graphics device interface is primarily used for rendering 2D graphics and text. GDI applications don't directly access graphics hardware. Instead, they interact with device drivers through GDI. GDI provides a degree of device independence, making it suitable for drawing on various devices like displays and printers. However, its hardware acceleration capabilities are limited in modern Windows. WDDM, Windows Display Driver Model, is a modern graphics driver architecture introduced in Windows Vista and is essential for recent Windows versions. It supersedes older XDDM and XPDM model, aiming for better performance, stability, and advanced graphics features. It is tightly integrated with DirectX and offers numerous advantages: GPU scheduling, virtual memory management, improved stability, DirectX integration, time detection and recovery, multi-monitor support, hardware accelerated GPU scheduling. Okay, so I am correct. Sierra charts, what they provide for you for, or what they say using GDI to draw things, is the older way of drawing. What this doesn't make any sense. Access volume at price, data per bar. Studies like numbers bars and volume by price. Use the volume at price data available for each chart bar. To programmatically access this data in your own studies, it is necessary to use the Advanced Custom Study System Interface and Language, ACSIL. Isn't that the page that we're using? I'm like, well, of course you have to use it. I wouldn't even, that doesn't make any sense. Okay. In the ACSIL study function, it is necessary to use the interface structure member volume at price for bars to access the volume at price data per bar. Okay. To not perform any processing or calculations on a custom study. Include the following lines. If SC dot is full recalculation or SC dot downloading historical data.
Order canceled.
Okay, so that time it exited because it had been an hour. It only lost 2 ticks though. It's not bad. So that actually totally worked the way that we wanted it to, right? We detected an imbalance, so it tries to hold it for an hour, which should be long enough for there to be like another leg to it or whatever. But there wasn't, so it just scratches it. Very good. And it still puts us up 131 bucks. That's not bad. That's not bad. You can't complain about that. Especially in a period where I think that the robot shouldn't be doing well, right? Displaying custom values in the market data columns on the chart / trading DOM. Use the following functions to access the current market depth data. This also includes the current market depth data during a chart replay. Oh. Get market depth at level, number of levels. Cool. Uses market depth data. Cool. Initialization. Okay. Volume at price for bars. Oh, wait. What is... Oh, this is a C++ interface thing. Well, what is this page? Interface members, variables, and arrays. Gotcha. This is a really, really long page, isn't it? Zero Charts internally maintains volume at price data for each price tick of each loaded bar. The tick size is controlled by the tick size setting for the chart. The data is maintained when sc.maintain volume at price data is set to true in the custom study function, or when there's a study on the chart which requires this data, such as the volume by price study. This data is fully accessible through a CSIL using the member sc volume at price for bars. Oh, so you can like overwrite it perhaps. It is essential that maintain volume at price data be set to 1 in the defaults. Here's an example code. That's cool. Here's one for VWAP. Do you have a good website or research where I can read more about the treasury spread? No. Who's this Keith Shap? I've never heard of that before. This is like a porn star or something. I'm going to be super upset. The Complete Guide to Spread Trading. Hey, okay. It's a book. Let's see. Only 16 reviews. Now you might think, well, there's only 16 reviews. That means like it must not be a very... But actually, to me, if it's trading stuff, I wouldn't expect there to be so many votes. So 16, that's not bad. That's not bad. Oh, I guess that's not the actual... There we go. Here we go to the actual thing. Keith Sharp is a former senior writer for the Chicago Board of Trade and senior editor with Futures. The co-author of 7 Indicators That Move the Markets. Oh boy. I would be super skeptical about that book. 7 Indicators That Move the Markets. I wonder what those 7 are. Well, we can go see. I can do some more research on this guy, yeah? Brings me a step into the workings of spread trading and very good introduction to all the factors of a spread trade. To all outright traders, read this book. I have not read this book, but the average rating is suspicious. Price has no history. Only spreads have history. That is an interesting comment. Spreads carry messages about how the market needs to draw supplies in and out of storage. The price differentials of the spreads help the markets to regulate the flow of goods into and out of storage. A carry market wants product to go into storage. An inverted backwardation market wants product moved out of storage. Shop dispenses with confusing terms of inter and intra-delivery, but uses terms like co-integration and yield curve shift. Yay, that sounds all great. I think I want to read this book, guys. I think I want to read this book. Goes into a bit of detail with structuring spread trades, knob taught via DVO1 calculations. Well, so the thing that I've never been able to find that really drives me crazy is, are there statistical behaviors exhibited in spreads? Because when I look at a spread, well, like if we come over here, when I chart it, this is just based on the close, right? You can't necessarily make money from that. That's actually like it just going back and forth across one price, okay? But it does that a lot, and the way a spread chart looks is very different from the way that regular futures chart looks, and what's with that, and is there some behaviors that you can kind of exploit or use to your advantage because of that? So I find, like right here. Okay, maybe you could have gone short the spread right there and you made a little bit, right? I can never seem to predict those. It always just seems random to me. So I'm interested in, or maybe it's like this is deviated too far, so you can trade it here and that's reversion back to the mean with like co-integration or, those sorts of things. Like ideas for actual trades in the spread that a retail trader or a robot could take advantage of. Or even just ideas about spread trades that you would put into practice in the treasuries. I'd be interested in the treasuries in particular. What kind of spread trades does a pro put on? It also sounds like that this guy is doing a lot with calendar spreads. Too difficult to read. Well, that makes me want to read it even more. That was from 2005. Okay. Wait, I need to add it to my list. Add to list. Seth books. Actually, maybe I'll just search for it right now. I'm not logged in.
Order submitted.
Oh, it wants to go long again, huh? That's interesting. ChatGPT is broken right now. Error in stream. There's also the CME website that has spread details. Well, there is some good stuff on the CME website about spreads, but that only just gives me the idea of like what a spread is, and I've never really seen a really good resource that would give me an idea like what is a good spread trade, like giving me ideas on spread trades that I would want to put into practice myself. I think this is the piece of code that I used before to make cumulative delta. Or in VAP index equals 0, VAP index less than size of bar index. If SC volume at price for bars, get VAP index element at index. Total volume plus equals P volume at price volume. This is just needlessly complicated. Person that made this is too autistic. Like maybe a little bit of autism is good, but this is too autistic. Find a PDF. Well, sometimes those PDFs though are like just previews. Do you look at trading the spread between the 30-year and the 10-year and comparing that to, say, the 2-year? Well, but like that's exactly the thing is like, okay, so I can make trades like right now, I would expect the knob spread to maybe not be such a big factor, but like the spread between the 2 and the 30 to get steeper. At least that's what's been happening. Essentially, the market thinks that the Federal Reserve is going to cut later this year, but that the longer term interest rates aren't going to change very much. So the trade, although it's maybe too late for the trade, but the trade would be for the curve to steepen. So I can maybe in some instances do really, really big picture, longer term sort of a trade. But if I'm like day trading, how do you do? Because I remember John Bottomley, one of my mentors, he talked about there was this guy like before the modern kind of social media era of day trading, there was this guy that had an absolutely massive following that was teaching all of these guys to do spread trades, to scalp one tick through spread trades. And he had like 1,000 people in his trading room or something like that doing spread trades. And then one day, right before the recession, the trade blew up and everybody lost everything and he disappeared. So like that thing blew up. And I'm like, okay, but what were they doing? You know? ACS source. So that should be on my computer. Yes, ACS source. ACS source studies 8. Let's have it used Notepad++. Because I don't want it to open up Visual Studio every time that I... Ergodic. I don't know how to say that word. I should, because I've definitely heard it before. I can remember Nassim Taleb talking about this, but I don't remember how he says it or goat it. Thank you for programming. You're welcome. I'm trying at least. I don't even remember now where it was like I was like, oh, this is what we should do. Because as soon as I'm getting into it, I'm kind of like, nah, let's do Rust instead. This sucks. I do think it's probably the most valuable thing I could be doing right now, though. So let me make it the text a little bigger. Yeah. Wait, is this all in one giant? Okay, not quite. Moving average in here. Study subgraphs, average, multiple. Average bar. So it takes in a study interface reference, a C, which seems like that should be the main thing. But this takes a study interface reference. And I don't see this method calling those later methods. But whatever. Test function for an HTTP request. Okay, CR charts. So like, maybe this isn't the best one. Maybe this isn't the volume at price array test in studies 8.cpp. Oh, so is this maybe like multiple things? Let's find volume at price. Volume difference bars. Threshold alert. So are these not real indicate, or is this like multiple studies being at the same time in the same file? What about studies 2? VWAP. But this one doesn't use volume at price. Volume weighted moving average. Is it passing it all to some method further down? No. Air charts Y. Volume point of control for bars. That's probably a good example. Volume at price for bars is a pointer to a C VAP container. To access function member of VAP container requires that you use the member of pointer operator. Cost an S volume at price V2. Come on, that's amateur shit. It's okay. It's okay. You know, like it's just probably I can see why they might need to have it, but it still irks me. I'm still kind of like, eh. Hey, you know what? It's 8 o'clock. I should get going. I didn't hear the ding sound. Oh well, whatever. We made some progress. We got the right spot. We found the spot. Now I got to figure out this VAP container and then see what it has. Does it give me the bid ask sort of stuff? Does it already separate them out for me or not? Because that's what I need. I need it into buy and sell volume. Okay, guys, I will see you tomorrow.